Good morning, student. In this lecture, we will discuss about the multipath propagations. If we are talking about the wireless communication systems, so we have seen that when we transmit our signals from transmitter to receiver, our signals will follow the many paths for reaching the receiver. What will happens when our signals will follow the multipath, and what about the fading, and what is the fading problem in our wireless communication systems? So we will see about the multipath radio propagations. So multipath radio propagation affects virtually all wireless signals. So as we have to already seen that when our wireless signals are transmitted, they have to follow the different paths, and there are so many reasons for these different paths. Sometimes there may be a reflections, sometimes there may be a refractions, there may be a diffractions. So there are so many reasons. Due to this, our signals may be divided into the many paths, and due to these many paths, there are fading problems will occur in our signals. So what about the fading problem? So it can give rise to the interference, or it can be used to improve performance with techniques like MIMO. So first of all, there are so many types. We have also used in present scenario multiple inputs and multiple outputs, and we have to follow that. If we are transmitting the many input signals, and we have a many receiver parts, so which particular receivers we can achieve the best SNR. So according to that, we can also use this multipath propagations. So multipath propagation is a fact of life in any terrestrial radio scenario. So while the direct or line of sight path is often the main wanted signals, a radio receiver will receive different versions of same signals that have traveled from the transmitter via the many different paths. As we have to already told you, that is basically so many paths are created when we transmit our signal. So that is the basically you can see here in this diagram. This is the cell site. This is our mobile device. From tower, we have to receive our signals, and we can see here sometimes there is a lamp post. So sometimes signals will be reflected, signals will be diffracted. Sometimes the edges of buildings, due to these edges of building, our signals are reflected. So there are so many reasons. Due to this, instead of reaching our signals directly from transmitter to the receiver, it will also reach after reflection, refraction, diffraction. So there are the multiple copies of signals will be received at the receiver part. The vast number of different signal paths arise from the fact that signals are reflections from the buildings, mountains, or other reflective surfaces, including water. So that may be adjacent to the main path. So that is the reasons. And there are other effects such as ionospheric reflections give rise to the multipath propagation, as does the tropospheric ducting. So antennas used for transmission and reception have an effect on the number of paths that signal can take. So non-directive antennas will radiate the signals in all directions, and whereas directive ones will focus the power in one direction, reducing the strength of reflected signals away from the main beam. The multipath propagation resulting from the variety of signal paths that may exist between the transmitter and receiver can give rise to the interference in a variety of ways, including signal distortions, loss of data, and multipath fading. So, the variety of signal paths arising from the multipath propagation can be used to advantages. Schemes such as WeMo use the multipath propagation to increase the capacity of channels they use or seek to improve the signal to noise ratio. So it may be sometimes beneficial and it may be sometimes to losses for us. So sometimes due to multipath propagation, our data may be lost, signal may be distorted, fading problems occurred in multipath, and sometimes just as we have to also use the scheme of MIMO, we will transmit multiple copies of signals and we will receive that signals. So we can choose which path is the best one and in which path we can receive the best SNR signals from that particular path. So due to this, we will see what is the multipath fading. And basically the fading problem will arise due to multiple copies of our signals. So signals are received in terrestrial environment where reflections are present and signals arrive at the receiver from transmitter via a variety of paths. So the overall signal received is sum of all the signals appearing at the antenna. Sometimes these signals will be in phase with the main signals, and if signals are in phase with the main signals, our signals will be added and strength of signal will be increases. But sometimes they will interfere to each other, they will out of phase, and due to this our signal strength will be reduces. So, first of all, we will see about the generally our fading may be divided into the two part multipath fading and relay fading. So, multipath fading can be detected on many signals across the frequency spectrum from the HF bands right up to microwave and beyond. It can cause signals to rise and fall in strength. If we are talking about the relay fading is the name given to the form of fading that is often experienced in an environment where there is a large number of reflections present. So interference caused by the multipath propagation. So multipath propagation can give rise to the interference that can reduce the signal to noise ratio SNR and reduces the bit error rates for digital signals. One cause of degradation of signal quality is multipath fading already described. So that is also quality of signals will be degraded. There are other ways in which multipath propagation can degrade the signals and affect the integrity. So basically, multipath propagation is not a good factor for our signals. So one of the ways which is particularly obvious when driving in a car and listening to an FM radio. So that is basically when you are moving and certain points the signal will become distorted and appears to be breakup. So as you have to already see when you are driving a car or listening to FM radios, so at particular time signals will be slightly distorted and at last it will be breakup. So this arises from the fact that signal is frequency modulated. As we have to already seen that when we are listening the audio signal, so at present our transmission will be help of FM. So as we have to also called it in FM, we are listening this and this sound. So that is basically FM. So FM is basically a frequency modulated signals, and signal is since frequency modulated at any given time. Frequency of received signals provide the instantaneous voltage for the audio input. So if we are following the multipath propagation occurs, then two or more signals will appear at the receiver. One is the direct or line of sight signals, and another is a reflected signal. So, at these will arrive at a different times because of the different path line, and they will have a different frequencies. So, caused by the fact that two signals have been transmitted by the transmitter at slightly different times. So, according when two signals are received together, distortion can arise if they have similar signal strength level. Another form of multipath propagation interference that arises when digital transmissions are used. So you can also known as a intersymbol interference. So this is another form in which intersymbol interference when digital transmission are working and you have to transmit your number of symbols. So what will happens the when they will overlap, so you have to remember that your signals may be interfere and your symbols may be overlap to each other, and these problems is also comes due to the sampling rate of that particular signals. So this arises when delay caused by the extended path length of the reflected signals. So delay is significant proportions of a symbol. Then receiver may receive the direct signals which indicated one part of the symbols or one state, and another signal which is indicated the another logic state. So if this occur, then the data can be corrupted. So there is a reason. So how we can overcome of this problem? So one way of overcoming this is to transmit the data at a rate. The signal is sampled only when all the reflections have arrived and data is stable. So that is signal. We have to generally sample the signals, and your sampling rate should be the Nyquist rate, because if your sampling rate is less than particular Nyquist rate, your signals may be overlapped. So this naturally limits the rate at which data can be transmitted, but ensures that data is not corrupted and bit rate is minimized. So we have to set in such a way our information rate at which data are transmitted, so that less amount of ISI problem will be included in that particular part. So calculate the time delay needs to be calculated using the estimates of the maximum delay that are likely to be encountered from the reflections. So using the least signal processing techniques, a variety of methods can be used to overcome the problems with multipath propagations and possibilities of interference. So there are so many methods to overcome the problems of this type of problems. So in previous slides we will see here. So first of all we will see what about the multipath fading. So multipath fading occurs when signals reach a receiver via many paths and their relative strength and phase changes. And due to this multipath fading occurs. Multipath fading affects most forms of radio communication link in one form or another form. Multipath fading can affect the signals on frequencies from which low frequency portion of a spectrum and below right up into the microwave portion of the spectrum. So multipath fading occurs in any environment where there is a multipath propagations and path change for some reasons. This will change not only their relative strength but also their phases, as the path length will be changes. So multipath fading may also cause distortions to the radio signal. So that is basically a distortion. Say, as the previous path that can be taken by the signals vary in length. So that signal vary in length of signal vary. The signal transmitted at a particular instance will arrive at the receiver over a spread of times. So this can cause the problems with phase distortions and intersymbol interference when data transmissions are made. So this is the problems when you have to know signal transmitted at a particular instance will arrive at the receiver over a spread of times. So due to this, there may be a phase distortions and there may again a intersymbol interference problems. So as a result, it may be necessary to incorporate features within the radio communication system that enables the effects of these problems to be minimized. So fading is a feature that needs to be taken into account when designing or developing a radio communication channel. So we have to keep in mind some parameters. So, in any terrestrial radio communication system, signal will reach the receiver not only via the direct path but also the reflections of objects, buildings, hills, water, ground, so on, etc. The overall signal at the radio receiver is a summation of variety of signals being received. So that is basically overall signal जो at the radio receiver is a summation of variety of signals. So that is a basically summing point. As they all have different path lengths, the signal will add and subtract from the total dependent upon their relative phases. So it will be remember all the signals are in phase or out of phase, and according to that their summation and subtraction will happens on the receiver part. At time there will be changes in the relative path length, so there is due to the time there will also change in relative path lengths, and this could result from either the radio transmitter or the receiver moving or any of the object that provides a reflective surface moving. So this will result in the phases of the signals arriving at the receiver changing, and in turn this will result in the signal strength varying as a result of different way in which signal will sum together. So that is basically what type of signal strength you are receiving at the receiver side. So it is this that causes the fading that is present on the many signals. So that is the reasons of fading. So now we will say about the selective and flat top fading. So there are also multipath fading can affect the radio communication channels in two ways. Either it can be the selective fading or it can be the flat fading. So first of all, we will see about the flat fading. What about the flat fading? So this form of multipath fading affects all the frequencies across a given channel, either equally or almost equally. So that is basically this type of multipath fading. It affects all the frequencies across a given channel. When flat multipath fading is experienced, the signal will just change in amplitude, rising and falling over a period of time, or with movement from one position to the another positions. Now, second one is the selective fading. So, selective fading occurs when the multipath fading affects different frequencies across the channel to different degrees. So it will mean that the phases and amplitudes of the signal will vary across the channel. Sometimes relatively deep nulls may be experienced, and this can give rise to some reception problems. Simply maintaining the overall magnitude of the received signal will not overcome the effects of the selective fadings, and some form of equalization may be needed to some digital signal formats. So that is the basic reason overall amplitude of the received signal will not overcome the effects of the selective fading. Now OFDM are able to spread the data over a wide channel so that only a portion of data is lost by any null positions. So what about the OFDM? So that is basically spread the data wide channel. That is the whole channel is divided into the sub frequency band, and in every band we can transmit the our signals by using a different carrier frequency. So this can be reconstituted using the forward error correction techniques, and in this way it can minimize the effects of selective multipath fading. So selective multipath fading occurs because even though the path length will be changed by the same physical length, this represents a different proportions of wavelength, and according to it, the phase will change across the bandwidth used. Now, selective fading can occur over many frequencies, and it be noticed when Medium wave broadcast stations are received in the evening via ground wave and sky wave propagations. So we can see about the selective fading. So what about the selective fading? Basically occurred in ground wave and sky wave propagation. So as we have to know in evening time, how we can define the ground wave and sky wave. By using the ground wave and sky wave, only medium wave frequencies can be transmitted, and in this medium wave frequencies, ground wave frequencies, we can only transmit the lower frequency signals, and after certain distances these signals will be destroyed due to the curvature of the earth. And if we are talking about the sky wave propagations, so basically in sky wave propagations there are different layers, D, E, F1, F2 layers, and due to these layers we can transmit our signals through the longer distances. So generally if we are talking about the single hope, so in single hope we can cover the 1,000 kilometers. So by using the single hope of that particular signal, we can cover the 1,000 kilometer on the earth. So by using the sky wave propagation, medium wave frequencies can also be transmitted. But after, as the frequency increases, that frequency cannot return to the earth and then can be escaped to the atmospheric frequency. So after medium frequency ranges, apart from that ranges, we cannot use that particular sky wave propagations, and now we have to switch to the satellite communication or using the high frequency signals for communication purpose. So these high frequency signals at present are, we are working on the higher ranges, frequency ranges of signals, and these signals will moving towards the satellite and the optical fiber. So the phases of the signals received via the two means of propagation change with time, and this causes the overall received signal to change. So multipath fading is very dependent on the path length. It is found that it affects the frequency over even the bandwidth of AM broadcast signals to be affected differently, and distortions result. So selective multipath fading is also experienced at higher frequencies, and with high data rate signals becoming commonplace, wider bandwidth are needed. So as a result, null and peaks may occur across the bandwidth of a signal, single signal. So there may be so many challenges in the fading. Now we will see the cell phone signal fading and what type of fading is occurred due to our cell phone. So mobile phone communications are subject to the multipath fading, and there are variety of reasons for it. When mobile user is moving, first is that mobile stations or user is likely to be moving, and as a result the path length of all signals being received are changing. And second is that many objects around may also be moving. Automobiles and even people will cause reflections that will have a significant effect on the received signals. Accordingly, according to it, multipath fading has a major bearing on cellular telecommunication services. So other objects moving, when often the multipath fading, that object cellular phone is known as the fast fading because it covers over a relatively short distances, and slow fading occurs as a cell phone moves behind an obstructions and signals slowly fade out. So fast signal variations caused by the multipath fading can be detected even over a short distance. So that is assumed frequency of 2 gigahertz, typically approximate frequency value for phones. Now we will calculate the wavelength. So how you have to know lambda, wavelength lambda, that is equal to c by f, and c is the speed of light. So that is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by lambda. So now we can attain the lambda, that is 0.15 meter. To move from a signal being in phase to a signal being out of phase is equivalent to increase the path length by half a wavelength. So there is again a key for increasing the path length by half of the wavelength or itne meters you can enhance. This example looks at a very simplified example in reality situation is far more complicated with signals being received via many paths. So however it does give an indication of the distances involved to change from an in phase to an out of phase situations. Now ionospheric fading. So shortwave radio communication is renowned for its fading. Signals that are reflected via the ionosphere vary considerably in signal strength. These variations in strength are primarily caused by multipath fading. When signals are proposed via the atmospheric, it is possible for the energy to be composed, so that energy to be propagated from the transmitter to the receiver via very many different paths. So there is again a many paths are followed by the signal. So simple diagram shows a single ray or path that signal takes. So in reality, the profile of electron density of ionosphere is not smooth, and as a result, many signal entering the ionosphere will be scattered and will take multiple paths to reach a particular receiver. So this is again a problem for us. So with changes in the ionosphere causing the path length to change, and this will result in the phases changing and overall summation at the receiver changing. The changes in the ionosphere arise from a number of factors. One is that level of isolation vary, although these changes normally occur relatively slowly but nevertheless have an effect. In addition to this, there are winds or air movement in the ionosphere. The level of ionization are not constant. Any air movement will causes change in the profile of electron density in the ionosphere. So in turn, this will affect the path length. So sometimes ionization layers length will be different. If you are talking about the F layer, so F1 and F2 layer will be merged, and path length will be changed due to merging of F1 and F2 layer at the night time. So this is the reasons due to level of ionization is not fixed or constant, and it will be vary to time to time. So this is the reason, and it is for this reason that signals on the short wave bands are constantly changing in strength. So this is the reasons why we are changing the strength in short wave transmission. Now we will focus to the tropospheric fading. What about the tropospheric fading? So many signals using frequencies at VHF and above are affected by the troposphere. So signal is refracted as a result of the changes in refractive index occurring especially within the first kilometer above the ground. This can cause signal to travel beyond the line of sight. So in fact, for broadcasting applications, 4 by third of the visual line of sight is used for radio horizon. However, under some circumstances, relatively abrupt change in the refractive index occurring as a result of weather conditions can cause the distances over which signals travels to be increased. So due to sudden of refractive index changes, the distance of transmitting distance will also be changed. So similarly may then be ducted by the ionospheric over distances up to a few hundred kilometers. When signals are detected in this way, they will be subject to the multipath fading. Hence, heat rising from Earth's surface will ensure that path is always changing and signal will vary in its strength. So typically these schemes may be relatively slow. It's slow with signals falling and rising in strength over a period of number of minutes. So that is basically multipath radio fading is a factor that appears on most signals to a greater or lesser extent. As radio signals tend to reach a receiver via multiple paths, regardless of how good the path appears to be, there are always likely to be reflections from the other objects. The only exception is in our outer space where there are very few significant objects that are likely to cause the major issues. So that is a very less issues due to fatigue. So now we will see in view of the fact that signals take multiple paths and there is always likely to be some movement causing path lengths to change and signal strength to vary. Multipath fading will be an issue in many instances. So due to these fading change in length, there may be so many issues we have to sort out that issues. Now we will switch to the relay fading. And what about the relay fading? The relay fading is the name given to the form of fading that is often experienced in an environment where there is a large number of reflections present. So, relay fading is the form of fading which is often experienced in an environment where there is a large number of reflections present. Now, the relay fading model uses statistical approach to analyze the propagation and can be used in a number of environments. The relay fading model is ideally suited to situations where there are large number of signal paths and reflection. Large number of reflections of the ionosphere means that overall signal can arrive having the many different paths. So that is a basically different paths are it for tropospheric radio propagation because again there are many reflections may follow a variety of different paths. So relay fading, if you had discussed about the definition of relay fading, so relay fading model may be defined as through such a transmission medium will vary randomly or fade according to Rayleigh distribution. So the radial component of sum of two uncorrelated Gaussian random variables. Now we will see the Rayleigh radio signal fading basics. So the Rayleigh fading model is particularly useful in scene where the signal may be considered to be scattered between the transmitter and receiver. In this form of there is no single signal path that dominates and statistical approach is required to the analysis of the overall nature of radio communication channel. So Rayleigh fading is model that can be used to describe the form of fading that occurs when multipath propagation exists. So in any terrestrial environment, a radio signal will travel via a number of paths from transmitter to receiver. The most obvious path is the direct or line of sight path. However, there will be many objects around the direct path, and these objects may serve to refract the signal. So, as a result of this, there are many other paths by which signal may reach the receiver. So, when signals reach the receiver, the overall signal is a combination of all the signals that are reflected, and that one is reached to the receiver via the multitude of different paths. So these signals will all the sum together, the phases of the signals being important. So there are so many factors According to that, our signals will be behave. So dependent upon the way in which these signals sum together, the signals will vary in strength. So if there is a strength of signals will vary. If they were all in phase with each other, they would all add together. So however, this is not normally the case, as some will be in phase and others out of phase, depending upon the various path lengths, and therefore some will tend to add to the overall signal, whereas others will subtract. So that is basically, as there is a free movement of transmitter or receiver, this can cause the path length to change accordingly. The signals level will vary, so that you have to change your path according to that particular. Additionally, if any of the objects being used for reflection or refraction of any part of the signal move, they then this too will cause variations. So this occurs because some of the path lengths will change, and in turn this will mean their relative phases will change. So if path length will change, so their relative phases will also change, and giving rise to a change in the summation of all the received signals. So the Rayleigh Fading model can be also used to analyze the radio signal propagations on a statistical basis. It operates best under the conditions when there is no dominant signals, and in many instances cellular telephony based in a dense urban environment fall into this category. So now we will see other examples when no dominant path generally exists are for in ionospheric propagation, where signal reaches the receiver via a huge number of individual paths. So propagation using the tropospheric ducting also exhibit the same patterns, and accordingly all these examples are ideal for the use of a relay fading on the propagation model. So that is basically, it is also possible due to help of the tropospheric ducting also. So it is also responsible for multipath propagations. So all these things are here for feeding. So we can see here what about the multipath propagation and what is the role of multipath propagation. So we can see here there are, if we are transmitting our signals from transmitter sections, and if you are using the wireless media, so there are so many types of medium for transmitting the signals. So if you are talking about the low frequency signals, so that will be transmitted through the ground wave signals, and these path is parallel to the earth curvatures, and after some time due to curvature effect, that signals will be destroyed. And due to this, when we are switching to the sky wave propagation, so there will be some after some high frequency, the signals will not be reflected to the ground, and they may be escaped, and some signals will be refracted. So all these phenomena, ground wave propagations, sky wave propagations, all these are using for transmitting the signals over from transmitter to receiver sections. But when we are transmitting our signals through this sky wave propagation or ground wave propagation, some signals will not comfortable to reach to the receiver directly. They are reaching after reflections from the high buildings, lamp post, edges of buildings. So due to their multiple copies of signals are prepared. So as we have to see that signal reach the receiver, overall signal is a combination of all signals, and that have reached the receiver via the multitude of the different paths that are available. So that is the basic part in which we have to work out for the feeding purpose. So if you are working on the feeding section, so that is a feeding section must be very important. If you are using the wireless signals, so you are transmitting your signals with a high power, but due to multiple copies of signals, due to feeding, your signals will not be the up to the mark strength of that particular signal. So this is a very great problem in wireless media. in spite of it is provide the mobility to our devices, but there is also a fading problems. So we have to also much focused on the fading problem. So now you can see here the we can also work on the flat top fading and selective fading. So if they are if all the frequencies are experiences the same amount of gain, so at that time when your signals are reaches different paths, and if you are working on the flat top sampling means all type of signals are providing the constant gain for all the frequency ranges. So this type of signals, this type of model is called as a flat type model. And if you are talking about the Rayleigh fading model, so that is magnitude of signals that has passed through such a transmission media. So also called a communication channel. So will vary randomly or fade. So according to Rayleigh distributions, so the radial component of sum of two uncorrelated Gaussian functions. So you are also working on the Rayleigh fading models that assume magnitude of signals that has passed through such a transmission media will vary randomly. So at present scenario, we can see that the Rayleigh fading model are successful for our fading purpose. So that is basically Rayleigh fading model is particularly useful in scenario where signals may be considered or to be scattered between the transmitter and receiver part. So these are the different types of fading system: flat fading, frequency selective fading. If you are talking about the frequency selective fading means there is a change in the not constant gain is provided to the all frequencies means gain change according to the frequency. So this type of uh, fading is called as a selective fading. And these are the fading are not useful for our signals, so we have to avoid this type of fading, or not avoid, we can also try to minimize the fading effects of our signals. And now we will switch to the some objective questions which we have to cover. So this is the fading part. So what about the fading, or what is the cost of fading? So that is the multipath propagation, obstacles, frequency variations at the source, and variation in amplitude and phase at the receiver. So you have to choose the right answer. I also told you. Fading due to the shadow effect. So fading due to the large obstructions, large coherence time of the channel as compared to the delay constant, small coherence time of channel as compared to the delay constant. So that is a basically reasons of shadow. Now we will move to the small scale fading, large scale fading. So that is describes the fluctuation of amplitude phases of a signal. So if you are working on the small scale fading, so your fluctuations will be sharp. Your fluctuations will be either rapid, slow, instantaneous, or the different. Now, which of the following is not effect caused by the multipath in radio channels? So, rapid changes in the signal strength, random frequency modulations, power of the base station, and time dispersion. And if you are talking about the urban areas, so fading occurs due to the height of mobile antenna, then height of the surrounding surface. So, what should be the you can remove that from urban area by using fading occurs due to the height of mobile antenna, then the height of the surrounding structure. So that is basically responsible of antenna. Apparent shift in frequency in multipath wave is caused due to the relative motions between. So where is the apparent shift in the frequency in multipath wave? So that is a cost of that relative motion. So that is equal to base station and MSC, mobile and surrounding objects, mobile and MSC, and mobile and base station. So this is the reasons. Which of the following factor doesn't influence the small scale fading? So multipath propagation, power density of base station, speed of mobile, speed of the surrounding object. So that is the responsible for our small scale feeding. Signal will distort if transmitted signal bandwidth is greater than the bandwidth of the, so what, how, when your signal will be distorted if transmitted signal bandwidth is greater than bandwidth of, in which bandwidth, so radio channel receiver, multipath channel, transceiver. So there are so many options we have to given here. Now we will also switch to the Doppler shift. What about the Doppler shift for mobile moving with constant velocity? You have to given the V. So you can see here the basic part of it. So now it's okay. We have to cover all the objectives and feeding part also. So now we can see that feeding is a very negative part of our wireless communication system, and for avoiding our multi-part transmission, the feeding we have to keep in mind certain factors which can reduce our feeding problems. So okay, thank you.